You know, but this Divrei Torah is also what Bezrat Hashem be for the success of all those who are participating with you tonight. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu open up all the gates of Parasha and Yeshua and Shefa and Simcha, and may we all Bezrat Hashem have all our prayers heard and all our wishes, our heart's wishes fulfilled. Amen. Amen. You know, but today there was a very famous segula. We spoke about it in the morning, and every single person we met throughout the day spoke about the segula. But I think it's important that before we start our shiur to get it clarified. So the Mekubalim teach us that on the Tuesday, which we connected to Pa'amayim Kitov, of the week of Beshalach, which is this week's Parasha, which as we know in the Parasha Beshalach, it's a Parasha of what? The Parasha of the man, but also the Parasha of the redemption, the Parasha of the Geulah, where Kadosh Baruch Hu tore the sea in half, took Bnei Yisrael out of Egypt. It was the sealing of all the miracles that Kadosh Baruch Hu did. Leaving in Egypt, it all comes to an end, but it comes to a very dramatic end. So there's a segula to read Parashat Haman, and one who reads Parashat Haman, he'll come to what? He'll come to a point of having Panasa, where it is a segula for Panasa. You know, Botai, this is something that I really wanted to clarify, because I think it's important that this segula is not a segula that exists once a year. It's actually a segula that exists every single day, and the person can reach that exact same ma'ala, maybe not the exact, like I said, according to the Mikubalim, but still reach to almost the same level of segula, but on a daily basis. Meaning a person does not need to wait once a year to start reading Parashat Haman and to come to some sort of awakening. So now, but really, what is the concept of Parashat Haman? And why is it so important? So a lot of people would say that reading the Parasha, you will come to a point of a miracle, that somehow HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you Panasa. The moment you read the words of the Parashat Haman, suddenly it's like putting a code. The moment the code comes in, Panasa will come down. That's what a lot of people think. But on the reality of it, it's not so at all. You know, Botai, Mefarshim explained, the concept of reading Parashat Haman is actually just a symbol and a way for a person to awaken himself, to have emunah, to have faith. Why is that? Because when we think about the man represents something very unique. It represents complete, pure faith. But pure faith in what? Complete pure faith when it comes in regard to Panasa. Why is that? Because when we think about the man, it's something very unique, something amazing. It says Rabotai, and this is what it even said in the Parasha itself, that every single day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a miracle, where simple, other words, like bread, which the Mefarshim explained it's actually the food of the angels, that the angels need to eat somewhat too. They don't have physical food, but they have like a spiritual food. The man is simply another form of angel food that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would drop down every single day in order to feed Bnei Yisrael for the entire 40 years that they were in the desert. Now you know, Botai, there was a miracle that would happen every single day with the man that those who had to collect. So you know, Botai, in today's day and age, if you were in the desert and HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed you with a pile of food, what would you do? What would any man do? You would go, you would take a big bag, fill up a big bag, and say, now I'm going to take enough food for a week, to make sure that at least for a week I am secure. Who knows if it's going to rain again, this man again, or who knows if I'm going to find food again. So a person is going to go and store as much as food as possible in order to sustain himself for a longer period of time. The man was different. Why so? Because the Zohar says that if now you went and you decided to go and to take food or man for 2 days, the next day what would happen to the man? It would rot. He wouldn't be able to eat from it. So you say, what about Shabbat? So on Shabbat there was a miracle that whatever you took for Friday lasted fresh until after Shabbat. Or the Zohar even goes as far as saying that if you went and you took 2 portions and you only have one mouth to feed, what would happen? You would come home, you would open your basket, how many portions were inside the basket? 1. Where the man was a symbol of what? It was a symbol of teaching Bnei Israel that food, Panasa, comes from where? Comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where food, you only had what to eat today. What tomorrow, that's already, you have to put your faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't put your faith in taking more or in being clever and being smart. That the entire concept of reading Parashat Aman is not even necessarily to miraculously make a magic trick. It's about coming to a recognition that Parasha is from Hashem. And the sooner one can do so, the sooner you will have Parasha. Why do we wait, Rabotai, until a person really has no food to eat, then to say, Kadosh Baruch Hu, bring me the Parasha. I know you're the one that are in charge of Parasha. Please bless me with what I need in order to survive this time. Or when a person finds himself in a time of tight, only then he wakes up and says, I need Kadosh Baruch Hu to help me. Only Hashem could help me. Why can't we just come to the point of living in that way of thought? And it will come in ease. Where we don't have to stress, we don't have to worry. We have to do Ishtadlut for sure. And like we said, Ishtadlut is maximum, not minimum. So we do our maximum, but the rest is in the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that, Abotai, is the Segula of Parashat Aman. Parashat Aman is remembering that the Parasha is from Hashem. When one remembers that Parasha is from Hashem, only from Hashem, what happens? He brings upon himself Shefa, he brings upon himself blessing, and he brings upon himself ease of bringing bread to the table. It says, Abotai, and one of the Mefashim, they say the more a person worries and runs, and like I said again, we have to make a big difference between Shtadlut, doing your maximum effort, than being lazy. That's something that we're very strict on. But after a person does his maximum effort, the more he stresses, it's stam, it's chram. Because anyways, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the end of the day, will provide. He never forgot you today, he's not going to forget you tomorrow, that's for sure. That is what we have to start. Not just implying today where everybody is Parashat Aman, Parashat Aman, Parashat Aman, and nobody even knows why they're doing Parashat Aman, running around thinking that it's like a magic trick that's going to save us all. Yes, it's beautiful, but the real essence, the importance, is coming to a complete faith with Parasha. Period. So Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the strength that every day of our lives we will completely submit ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and have complete emunah where all our Parasha will come with ease, but with Be'ezrat Hashem, big quantity. Amen. Amen. So today, Rabotai, we're going to continue with our shiur that we left off last week, which, like as we all know, they are what? The 7 gates of tefillah, the 7 gates of prayers. We like what we mentioned in previous shiurim, the 7 gates of tefillot, 7 gates of prayers, but also 7 gates of what? Of shefa, of blessing. And it's basically the build of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu communicates. It's like a postal office between this world and that world. Everything is to go through that. Now, how things go through, what type of package it goes through, how much it costs, what's the weight of the package, it's all different. So that's why there are different doors and different gates that act as different steps, and also different situations that one can get his prayer up, and also one can bring down big bacha. So now, Abotai, we are in actually the 4th gate, the gate of zechut, merit. And we're in the 2nd door, which like what we said in the past, could have 1 gate, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have 2 entrances or 3 entrances or 4 entrances or even 5 entrances. We'll find out soon, Be'ezrat Hashem. So tonight we're going to speak about the 2nd entrance of the gate of Zechut. So now, Botai, like we mentioned in Mincha, we spoke about it very briefly. Like in all the other gates, the 2nd gate has what? Has a gate watcher. Well, the gate watcher also acts as like the front line, the front desk. Where the person on the front desk, she guides you, she tells you what to do, and she helps you with getting what you have to get done. The name of this angel is actually what? Ha'ariel. Ha'ariel. It's a little bit different than the ones that we've read, that we've mentioned in the past. Now, what is the job of this angel? This angel has a very unique act. His job, he goes, he searches for merit, zechut, and he brings that zechut and incorporates it in the judgment of Torah, in the bet din of Torah that we spoke about last week. So last week when we spoke about all what we spoke about with the 70 judges, and they sit around with the 2 witnesses and the 7 eyes, all what we spoke about, there must be a positive and a negative. So who brings in the positive? This angel Ariel. He goes, when a person is being judged, he searches, he loves people. He searches where he can find merit, how he can bring upon a person maybe merit that he not necessarily deserved, or external merit that we're going to speak about in a few minutes, and he brings it to the Bet Din. And he presents it to the 70 judges, like what we mentioned in the weeks before. Now, the Zohar Kadosh says, if the angel Ariel has the opportunity to bring upon a person a lot of merit, or if this person has access to a lot of merit, the judgment can either go to a way of canceling a decree, or it could go in the path of bringing a big miracle, of making a person very, very, very wealthy, of taking a person that maybe was supposed to get married in a few years because that was meant for him and he got married early. So it all depends on the person, on the situation, and how much merit this angel Ariel was able to collect and able to bring to Bet Din. The Zohar Kadosh says, this is what the Ramak also brings, at the moment that the merit is brought in, and the judge, the 70 judges, they say, you know what, look, this man has a lot of merit. He mamash carries under his belt a big amount of merit. So, we're going to judge him, Bezat Hashem, that this year is going to become the richest man in his entire city. And they bless him with all that big beracha. Or, like what we said, that person was supposed to receive a little bit of a pinch, and they say, you know what, after all this merit that this angel was able to collect, we're going to cancel everything. We're going to clean all the suffering he was supposed to have that year, and give him a completely blessed year. What does the angel Ariel do at that point? So he goes down to a friend that we spoke about a few weeks past. So HaKadosh says, the angel Ariel takes a ladder and he climbs down a floor. He climbs down a floor to where? To what gate? To the gate that's right under the third gate. And like what we mentioned, Abotai, who is the main gate watcher in the third gate? Padiel. Which Padiel comes from the word what? Lifdot. Where we said he is the angel that even him and against 1,000 negative angels, he can overcome them. Why? Because he has the strength of lifdot. How can lifdot? To bail somebody out. It's like when a person Chas v'Shalom is in jail, or a person Chas v'Shalom is in trouble, he completely bails them out. So the moment the judgment is brought for blessing, for bracha, a person was judged to be healthy, whatever it is, the angel Padiel gets called up to Bet Din. The angel from the third gate climbs up to the fourth gate, and the Zohar Kodesh says, he starts to scream, stop, stop, stop. Where he completely stops all what happens in an Olamot Elonim with regards to this one individual. And he says, wait, this man, I found in him righteousness, or I found in him merit that needs to be paid back. And he starts to announce and he starts to put things in order upon the judgment or upon the decision that was made one floor up. And this Rabbotah is actually something that is the secret of bringing upon a person big blessings, of bringing upon a person miracles, of bringing upon a person cancellation of negativity. It's with the strength, with the power of merit. Now, you know, Rabbotah, tonight I want to speak about merit. That's what the door speaks about. But before we speak about it, I want to understand what is merit. The word merit gets thrown around left and right. But what really is it up there in Shamayim? What does it act for? How does it act? What's the purpose of it? So everybody now has a small, little different interpretation. But let's go straight down to the point. Now, we say that everything that exists in this world is what? Is a copy of Olamot Elyonim. It's the exact same mirror. If you want to know how up there it works, it's very simple. Look at your world and look at around you, and you'll be able to see exactly how HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. Up there and down here. And that's why a lot of the tzaddikim, the biggest mikubalim, their source of receiving all their Torah and secrets was what? Just looking at the nature, just looking at what HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, and they were able to get to high ma'alot. So now, in the world, there is something that we say that it runs the world. What is it? What is it? There's one thing that runs the world. All the cynical people say, bottom line, it all leads up to money. When at the end of the day, money is one of the most cherished objects that exist in this world. People do everything for money. But for the most part, most people, how do they get their money? Through what? Through work. They go, they work, they have a job, they do business, they're a pharmacist, they do a lawyer, I don't know, they sell perfume. Each one does his different work. And according to how well he did his work, according to how hard he worked, according to how well he performed, he keeps the reward, the gift in the end of all that hard work. He can take that gift and he can do what with it? He can spend it as whatever way he wants. He can buy a gold chair, like how Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai has it there in Shamayim. It says that he sits down on 13 bricks of gold. The love at Hashem will all have 13 bricks of gold under up there at AT RABBI. You can spend, a person down here can spend it however way he wishes. So up there in Shamayim, it is the exact same thing. Down here, if the government catches you for doing something wrong, what do? You pay a ticket. Down here, when you need something to work fast, you need something very rare, what do? You pay, you get what you want. Same thing up there. But the difference is that after hard work spiritually, what comes into one's possession? Not money, of course, but what? Merit. Merit is the money of Olamot Elyonim. That after hard work, after effort, one gets gifted with merit. Now what can a person do with merit? So merit, Rabotai, like we said, it's like money. You can buy everything. Why is that? Where do we learn that? Very simple. We say, Rabotai, tzedakah, tetzil, mimavet. Even death. Even if a person, chas v'shalom, has a decree on him, just with the strength of merit, he can buy out the decree. If a person, even chas v'shalom, needs to go through the worst decree, death, with an exchange of merit, he could push it away. Or like what we say, teshuvah, tefillah, utzedakah, ma'avirim et roa, agzera. That even if a person has something bad that needs to come upon his plate, with a payment of merit, one can clean that off of him and start to clean. The same thing could be with miracles, where the Gemara says that why can't a person rely on a miracle? No. We say HaKadosh Baruch Hu is big. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does so many miracles. He did so many miracles for Bnei Israel. But why can't I, as a person that has emunah, as a person that studies Torah, stand under a bridge that's about to fall and say, Rabbi Pinto, you're going to save me? Why can't I do that? Because we explain and we answer something simple. Where yes, how can a person buy a miracle which is essentially bending of the laws of nature, meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu created laws, you have to pay the nature, mamash, that's what the Zohar says. You pay the nature reward, which is merit, and as a result, he allows you to bend him a little bit, which in our language is what? It's a miracle. Why can't a person stand under a bridge and say, Rabbi Pinto, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to save me? Because who knows if you have enough merit to pay what it's going to cost to perform this level of this altitude of a miracle, where we do not rely on the miracle because we don't know, we're not baki, we're not baki, we're not fluent, we're not professionals with the value of certain mitzvot, or what a certain miracle costs, or what a certain chas v'shalom sin costs to clean out of our plate. But really, Rabotai, merit is how a person can come to the point of changing anything. Bringing upon himself wealth, bringing upon himself bracha, taking away gzerot, being healthy, finding one's zivuk. It's the key to all. But you know, Rabotai, merit is something that a lot of people, when they hear merit, they say, what, now I'm going to have to now start to work on finding ways to gather merit. It's like a person that doesn't want to go, it's like here in America, they have a Monday. Nobody wants to go anywhere. Why? They say Monday, let me stay. I'm tired. So now when we hear the word, we have to start gathering merit, we start to get scared. When am I going to have to start adding upon myself? When am I going to have to change in my life drastically in order to increase my merit count? So you know, Abotai, this Shabbat, we said something which I think is so beautiful, and I think it's so important. And it's amazing how HaKadosh Baruch Hu fixes the parashot. in the order of our shiurim. It's happened several times, so I think it's worth saying. In this week's Parasha, we see that when Bnei Israel left Egypt, with their descent of Egypt, with their leaving Egypt, before they left, what did they do? So Zohar, the Torah says, the Midrashim say, that what did they do? They went to all the Egyptians' home, and they collected all the gold and the silver and the diamonds and the jewelry that they saw in the plague of darkness. So in the plague of darkness, the Egyptians were frozen. The Jews entered into the Egyptians' home, and they looked in their closets and they looked in their drawers. They said, he has a gold necklace in this drawer. He has $100 in that pocket. So when the darkness ended, the Jews came to the homes of the Egyptians. They said, look, we worked, give us our payment. So what did all the Egyptians say? They were scared. They said, Mechila, we don't have anything. I don't have gold, I don't have money, I don't have jewelry, I don't have anything. So what did the Jews do? The Jews, having seen where every single valuable was placed, they said, no, don't worry. Look in that drawer or in this pocket. You'll find exactly what I need in order to pay the payment that is necessary. The Midrashim say that while Moshe Rabbeinu, while Bnei Israel was collecting all this wealth, what was Moshe Rabbeinu doing? He went to bring the bones of Yosef. And the Midrash Rabotai praises Moshe Rabbeinu for being what? It praises Moshe Rabbeinu for being an incredible businessman. It says Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the greatest socher that existed in mankind. You know, Rabotai, this sentence of the Midrash bothered me for years. Everybody is going, collecting gold, collecting wealth, collecting money. They are collecting a fortune. Moshe Rabbeinu, instead of going and taking care of himself like every businessman does, what does Moshe Rabbeinu do? He goes and he acts like a Chevrat Kadisha, collecting bones. And that's a good businessman? I don't understand the wording of the Midrash. The Midrash chose to call Moshe Rabbeinu a great businessman and not a great tzaddik. Because the acts of what Moshe Rabbeinu did in this story is not an act of a businessman. An act of what? Of a tzaddik. So why the Torah calls him a businessman? A great man of knowledge, a great man of schora, of socher. Socher. How do you say socher? It's like a trader, one that's merchant, a great merchant. So now, Rabotai, after thinking about this a lot, came to the conclusion that the wording of the Midrash and the reason that the Midrash chose these words of calling Moshe a great businessman was for a different reason. It was for the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to calculate and he was able to know the value, the true value of what? Of every single mitzvah. In the sense that Moshe Rabbeinu knew how to take the mitzvot, evaluate them, and work with them and collect them the same way a merchant or the same way a businessman would conduct his business. Where Moshe Rabbeinu, when he saw the opportunity of going to collect gold or going to collect the bones of Yosef, he knew the value, and a person that knows the value is always going to go after what? The more valuable option, the more valuable the more valuable alternative. Nachon, exactly. So Moshe Rabbeinu, knowing all that, was able to be called a great businessman. Because he saw the Torah and he saw the mitzvot as what? He saw the Torah and he saw the mitzvot like a business. Where every single act that he did, the act was done in a form of what? Of collecting, in a form of selling and buying. You know what I always mentioned? I said, imagine now I tell a group of people, go to a certain room, and if you go and you sit in that room for one hour, you sit down on the chair for 1 hour, you will, right on the chair, there's an envelope of $1,000. Would there be anybody that won't run to just sit on the chair for an hour and collect the envelope? Everyone would jump. Say, $1,000. They would run and jump and take it. But how come people don't do the same thing when they hear about a shiur Torah, or when they hear about a mitzvah that's coming their way. It's because, Rabotai, we take mitzvot and we act with them like mitzvot, and we don't act with them like how a businessman should conduct his business. Where every single dollar that one can gain, and every single dollar that one can save, and every single damage one could avoid, he takes. And if we're able to do so, Rabotai, a person could reach to the highest levels of bracha and to the highest levels of wealth. Now, Rabotai, the concept of collecting merit does not even necessarily need to be with the way we act. A person could even collect merit with the way he directs his head, with the way he points his ratzon, with the way he points his desire. Where sometimes just with a little change of thought, a person can take nothing and turn it into great merit. And I'll give an example. But a lot of the times, when I have people that are starting to do teshuvah, they're working on it, they're tzaddikim, they come from far and they're coming close. They're going through the longest marathon. And they're starting to keep mitzvot, Shabbat, kashrut, this, that. But lat, slowly by slowly. It's not always good. Sometimes when they jump too deep, it becomes not good. So they're taking step by step. And especially, I'm going to take the example of Shabbat and kashrut. A lot of the times, when these people are starting to do Shabbat and etc., I ask them, no, you keep Shabbat? No. I say, Chas v'shalom, why do you say something like that? Chas v'shalom, why you accuse yourself with not keeping Shabbat? You're killing the merit of an entire day where you could be collecting merit of Ad V'Liday. But I say, Rav, what can I tell you? I come, I drive, I this, I do that. I don't keep Shabbat. But Rabotai, that's an extremely negative way to look at it. And I'll give you an example. Imagine, Rabotai, a person that's starting to do teshuvah, starting to make his steps back to the path of Hashem, starts to take a different way. We start to think like a businessman. So what did he think? He says, fine, I had to break this, and I had to do this, and I had to do that. But every single moment that he didn't break Shabbat is a moment that what? That he kept it. And every moment that he kept it should be seen as time of merit, and not chas v'shalom as a big failure. That even 1 hour that a person is able to sit down, even 1 hour, Rabotai, and he considers that 1 hour, and he says, that 1 hour I keep Shabbat. It's not true. I do keep Shabbat. That 1 hour turns from 1 hour which is wasted to a 1 hour of what? Which is a 1 hour of keeping the seventh day of Ki Mekor HaBeracha. Where, Rabotai, it's a matter of directing our path. It's a matter of directing our thought. Where if a person, let's say, doesn't eat kasher. Should you eat kasher? No, I don't eat kasher. Why? Opposite. Every single time you eat something like this kasher, you say, look, I'm keeping the mitzvah of keeping kasher. And not chas v'shalom, opposite. Rabotai, if we start to think like that, and we start to look at the more positive way of thought, and we take out all the negativity of I don't, and I can't, and I don't, and I can't, and we put aside all of that, and we start to focus on where one could collect merit, you'll see how vast the world is, and you'll start to get the hang of being a good businessman. It's always like that. When a person starts to do business, at the beginning he needs to learn the trades, but once he starts to grab a trick here, starts to grab a trick there, what happens? He becomes fluent in it. Then it becomes easy to him. He throws that, he throws this, he throws that, and he grabs them all. He makes deal after deal, he cuts deal after deal. The same thing, Rabotai, should be used with Torah and mitzvot. The smallest change that we can do even in our thought can change, Rabotai, in reality, the amount of merit that we collect from one side to the other, but drastically. So next time you hear somebody that says, I don't keep Shabbat, tell them you are a big liar. Because it's impossible that you don't keep Shabbat. It's impossible. It's impossible that for 25 hours you're standing with a lighter on like this and keeping it. It's impossible. You sleep on Shabbat, you're keeping Shabbat. You go to the bathroom, you're keeping Shabbat. It's the same thing. You cannot look at it in a negative way. We have to grab the positivity and we have to hold on to that. And that, Rabotai, is something that is very important. We have to start changing our way of thought. And if we change our way of thought, Rabotai, all this, the whole teaching of the Kabbalah is teaching tools. It's all about tools. It's all about what tools can I use to enhance my life, to bring more light to my life. Abotai, with this one little thought that we spoke about today, imagine how much light we can bring to people's life that now they're counting in their merit book. That I hope everybody will have a merit book. They will write all the mitzvot that they do and write all the merit that they have. Look, Hashem, I kept 1 hour of Shabbat, Baruch Hashem. I kept 3 hours of Shabbat. Hashem, I sat on the table, it was good food. So I sat an extra 2 hours and I kept 2 more hours of Shabbat. That's merit. That deserves reward. Not about how we have to start to think. Now about time. Something that I think is very interesting when in regards to go back to what the Zohar says with regards to merit. How the angel Ariel takes the merit, what does he do with it? Brings it in to Bet Din, brings it in to the court in order to use the court to bring a person to blessing or to cancel a decree. But Abotai, there's a few tricks here, a few loopholes, where a person could enter into Bet Din, Ha'elyon, Bet Din of Torah, the courtroom of Torah, and actually use someone else's merit. Meaning, he's using the merit that doesn't even belong to him. So how can one do that? It sounds like a very good trick. It's like borrowing from other people their credit card. It's an amazing little trick that we could use. So now the Zohar Kadosh brings a beautiful analogy. It's a beautiful analogy on how a person could actually end up in Olamot HaElyonim after 120 years in two completely different situations. The Zohar Kadosh says there's one instance where a man can go up to Shamayim, go up to Hashem, and he is happy. He says, my entire life I kept Torah, I kept mitzvot. I was such a tzaddik. Clearly he doesn't keep the mitzvah of being humble, but he's such a tzaddik. He says, when I'm going to go up, they're going to put me on the horse of Eliyahu Hanavi, and they're going to walk me to my place next to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be in Gan Eden, in paradise for Le'ol Me'ad. And they bring him into Bet Din Shel Mala, they bring him into the court after an Neshama leaves this world, and it's a different court than what we spoke about. He leaves this world in order to go up. The courtroom that we spoke about last week and the week before is more applicable for the courtroom that one goes to every single night. Where every single night we know our Neshama goes up to the sky, we get like small judgment for that day. But less of a judgment, like I said about that, judgment is not negative. The word judgment is seen as a negative thing, but it's actually a positive thing. It's more about the decision made. Usually, if you start to look at it as decision making room, you start to change its perspective and to change the way it looks. So, Bet Din that we spoke about last week is every single night. Now we're talking about Bet Din after 120 years. So he goes up after 120 years. He sits down Bet Din Ha'elyon, Bet Din Shel Mala, and they open the doors to start to bring in all the mitzvot and all the averot that he accumulated throughout the years. And suddenly, he sees black in his eyes. The doors open up, and he sees black angels coming in. Black angels, which represent what? Sins. And they come in, they come in. And the door of the good angels is open, but nobody's coming through. And he's starting to look. And the Zohar Kadosh says that when a person is up there, B'olamot HaElyonim, they announce what you would call it every person's sins. But I would like to maybe explain it in a different way, where it's not necessarily announcing. It's the fact that you have a present angel, which was created by a different sin, is like what? It's like an announcement. It's like everybody can see it, because up there is no limitation of what's in front of me. I can see, behind it I can't see. There's no physical material. It's something that's above our head. We can't understand it really. Here, if I put this in someone's face, he will lose his vision and not able to see. Up there, it doesn't necessarily, there's no limitation. So it's different. So to put that in consideration. So when all the neshamot, all the tzaddikim around Bet Din Shel Mala, they see all the sins that are physically standing in the courtroom. Because they are in the shape of what? In the shape of an angel. So this man sees all the angels and he starts to look. He says, Ribono Shel Olam, these are not my sins. I never did all these sins. It shows here that I kidnapped a person. Chas v'shalom, I never kidnapped a person. And I see here that I murdered somebody. I never murdered a person, chas v'shalom. And this, I ate not kasher. No, I didn't eat not kasher. Maybe I did teshuvah for it, but it's not my sin. And you start to see these sins. This sin was done in China. He says, I've never been to China in my life. This sin was done in here. This sin was done there. And he's getting overwhelmed of all these sins that he actually never did in his life. But they're being counted as one of the sins that go under his belt. The Zohar says another instance that could be the simple person. We got miskin, pushed around all his life. Goes up to Shamayim and he said, Hashem, just don't punish me. Let me go up. Give me my corner. Let me sit down. Let me have no fear, no stress, let me sit in my corner. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. And they open up Beddin, they open up the courtroom, and the doors of the white angels start to run in. They start to march. In the millions they're walking in. And he's looking, he's saying, wow, this is incredible. I cannot believe I did all these mitzvot. And when he starts to see, what does he realize? That these mitzvot don't belong to him either. He says, I never did this, and I never did that, and I never did this. Where did they come from? So Zohar says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very thrifty and very unique on how he pays good for those who do good, and how he transfers bad for those who do bad. Well, actually, this is an entire teaching that we're going to speak about maybe in length, where the Zohar says, Kaparat Avonot, reparation of one's sins, cleaning of one's sins. Zohar says that sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts us in situations of opportunity of in 1 second grab an enormous amount of merit, or in 1 second lose all a person's sins, or lose all his merit. How? It says with something that is called an interaction between a person and his fellow friend. The Zohar says that sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to clean a person. He was a good man. He did a few sins, but he wants to clean him. And other people were really bad, but they did a few good things, and he needs to return good for that. So sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring upon a person a situation where, like, this is the wording of the Torah, where Amalbin Panav Barabim, a person that gets embarrassed Barabim, ve'eno meshiv. What does that mean? A person that is brought to a place where a person embarrassed him, shamed him, he disrespected him, pulled him down a little bit, he said a bad word to him, he pinched him a little bit in front of people, he laughed at him a little bit. And this person, what did he do? He heard this pinch, he heard this little thing that should have caused a regular person to attack back or to fight back. And what did he do? He said, you know what? Hashem, I'm not going to fight with this person. Zohar Kadosh says, when a person does an act like that, where he's put in a situation where he could reply and he could retaliate and does not reply and does not retaliate, what happens to him? All his sins get moved off of his back, and they go to who? And they go to the man that's attacking him. And all the mitzvot of that man that he gathered his entire life come with a tractor, they get pulled up, and they get placed into the other man's pocket. Where Rabotai, merit, like we said, sometimes is doing nothing. A person could achieve the greatest amount of merit with sitting down and simply doing nothing. Where sometimes Rabotai puts us in a situation where we want to act, we want to retaliate, we want to fight back, but choosing not to is what brings us bracha, which a person cannot even put into account. To the point where the Gemara says, if you see a person that he was embarrassed, if you see a person that somebody called him something and he turned around and he swallowed it, he says you have to run to that man and say, please bless me. Why? Because in that moment he has not one sin on his back, and in that moment he's a complete tzaddik. Complete tzaddik. Well, but becoming a tzaddik is not very hard. You just need a few chutzpanim around you. You need a few bad people around you. You're a tzaddik. Every day you get cleaned. So all the people that have a little bit of struggle with the work, know that they have a clean back, Baruch Hashem. They're completely clean. Whoever understood, understood. So we're going to move on, B'ezrat Hashem. So you know, Abotai, we have to truly search for opportunity at every occasion, at every place. Another very unique way of achieving great quantity of merit with ease, and this is something that we used to speak about a lot with all the young people. And I think, Abotai, it's something that is important. We never spoken about it in a shiur. I think it's important to speak about it one time in a shiur. And that's the concept, Abotai, of lighting candles to a tzaddik, or in the merit of a tzaddik. You know, Abotai, sometimes when people come and you see that they're going through struggles and they need just a little bit of help, they need a little bit of a backbone, they need a little bit of a push. You see that things are getting better, but they're hard on them. Sometimes all it's needed, like we said, is just a little bit of push, a little bit of help. But sometimes to find that help, we turn always to, we say, Hashem, I need you to help me. But you know, Abotai, bottom line, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is at the highest level. And we're down here. So when something is far from each other, what do you use? You use a messenger. You use a middleman. The middleman takes the package from one location and brings it to the secondary location, to the destination. So that, Abotai, could actually be acted, could actually be done today, in our day-to-day life. How? By lighting candles to tzaddikim. We tell the people that find themselves in places of hardship, take a book of stories of all the tzaddikim and just read. When you read the stories, find a tzaddik that you feel a little bit of a connection to. Whereas there's some tzaddikim which you have an attraction to. Some tzaddikim you have no attraction to. Other people love them. Other people celebrate their ilulot, but you're saying, I don't feel that I'm not excited when I hear his voice. But like for me, I hear Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I jump, I get excited. Well, you want to hear more about him, you want to study more about him. It's like you want to dwell in his life, even to have one conversation with that tzaddik, you would be the happiest person. Find that tzaddik. Why is that? Because the reason that you feel that way about a specific tzaddik, interest, curiosity, or even connection, friendship, it's because you and that tzaddik have somewhat of what? A connection, somewhat. That somewhat he fed you and then you fed him. Somewhat you guys have some sort of link together. Now you know, Abotai, when a person finds that tzaddik, where he feels pulled to, and he lights a candle to, and this is something Abotai, the Moroccans, you know, the Moroccans, they're, I think the Eda, nation, Eda, nation, that has the most stories of miracles. You hear about Morocco, you take a stone, you used to throw it 60 years ago in the air in Morocco, the odds of them falling on a big tzaddik mikubal were not very small, meaning the odds are it's going to fall on a tzaddik. There were tzaddikim everywhere. And the level of miracles that they were doing 100 years ago, 60 years ago, the miracles that people that I know that are still alive saw, are miracles that you hear about in time of the Gemara. Why is that? So in Abotai, it's simple. They had this concept of imunat tzaddikim. They were always very connected to tzaddikim. They were always very connected to the righteous people that did incredible work in this world and went up above after 120 years. Now, when a person lights a candle to a tzaddik, the act that he is doing is actually much bigger than what you think. You know, Abotai, when a person leaves this world, as we know, he no longer has any opportunity or no longer has any chance to gain what? Mitzvot. To gain mitzvot, to gain merit. To the point where it said in the Gemara, Masechet Brachot, where it said Rabbi Yochanan was crying before he passed away when he was looking at the tzitzit of one of his students. Why? Because he said, because right now I'm about to leave this world and I see you wearing the tzitzit, and I see that when I pass away, you're going to continue wearing the tzitzit. Meaning that even the simple mitzvah that we run over sometimes of tzitzit, the merit is humongous. So, after a person leaves this world, gaining merit is impossible. What is yours is yours. What is not yours is not yours. Period. That's why we are sent down to the world from the first place. When we say, why were people, it's a big question. The Zohar says, where do the neshamot come from? So the Tehillim in Tzadik Bet, if I'm not mistaken, says, Shitulim beBet Hashem. What does that mean? They are planted in Bet Hashem. The neshamot come from a place that they're like little plants, like little trees, in the garden of Hashem. Where do they receive their water from? The Zohar says, Ziv HaShechina. What's Ziv? It's like the liquid, the water, the light, Ziv of the Shechina. And that's how they get their life. So many of the tzaddikim, Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen, in one of his books, says something beautiful. He says, if neshamot come from such a high place, why are you sending them to this dirty world? This world where there's lying, where there's cheating, where people are not correct, where people don't act fair sometimes. Keep them there, they're eating from Ziv HaShechina. So it's something simple. It's because the neshamot up there, they're at different levels. One is here, one is here. And the one that is here cannot take a little bit from the one that's on the top. So Hashem sends the big ones and the small ones down to the world in order to do what? In order for the big ones uplift and rise those who are at lower level. That's what a chiddush that I had about Eov. We say Eov says in his book in Perek Hey, it says Adam la'amal yulad. What is Adam la'amal yulad? Michael translate the sentence Adam la'amal yulad. What amal, work, le'emol. How do you translate it?
Adam la'amal
yulad.
Ken. Adam יוולד לעבודה קשה.
A person is born to toil, for avodah kasha. There's many machlokot of what do you consider to be avodah kasha. What do you consider to be hard work? What type of hard work? So Abutai, I had a chidush that a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I think it's beautiful. If you take the word la'amal and break it apart, how do you spell it? Lamed, ayin, lamed, ayin, mem, lamed. Nachon? Take the sentence now. Lilmod al menat lelamed. What's the first letters of each one? Lamed, lilmod. Ayin al, mem menat, lamed lelamed. Le'amal. Adam lilmod. Adam le'amal yulad. Adam comes down to the world to what? Lilmod al menat lelamed. You come down to the world to study or to teach. Why? Because you're supposed to play in a bigger play, which is to lift all the neshamot higher, to arise them to even a higher level of place. So Abutai, when a person comes and lights a candle to a tzaddik or for a tzaddik, essentially what is he doing? Essentially, you pull down his neshama and you give him a physical suit, a physical body to dwell in for a certain period of time. Or in other words, it's like you bring him down to the world. Where do we learn that from? Ki ner Hashem nishmat Adam. The candle of Hashem, meaning the candle, is the suit of the neshama of a man. Why is that? Because if you look at fire, what is fire? It's the opposite of material. Why? Because what does fire do? It eats material. It burns physical objects, and that's why fire is a very spiritual thing. That's what the korbanot were with fire. That's why anytime we want anything spiritual, we use fire, because fire is the absence of our material world. It burns through all what exists. That's why we say that fire is gvura, and that's already entire the teaching that we're not going to get into. So, when a person lights a candle, he's bringing down a piece of the neshama of the tzaddik that he's connected to. Now that you have the neshama in front of you, Rabbi Pinto, Rabbi Moshe Pinto, Baba Saleh, what do you have the opportunity to do? You have an opportunity to make a transaction with him. What's a transaction? You give tzedakah, you read Tehillim, you read a sentence of Zohar Kadosh, you do a mitzvah, you say, this is the merit of the tzaddik, this is the merit of the tzaddik, I'm giving now $1 in the merit of the tzaddik. Essentially, what are you doing? You give merit to the tzaddik. So you give the tzaddik a second chance to do what? To do mitzvot. So what now? What did the tzaddik feel for you? He says, wow, this man actually did a mitzvah for me. He did merit for me. I am not able to perform these mitzvot, so he's performing them on my behalf. But now as a result, what can you do? You can say, now look, tzaddik, I love you, you love me. I gave you merit. That makes me what? A partner to the merit that you hold. It's like, it's like an investment. When you invest in a company, what do? You give money, you own a piece. So I gave you merit, what do? I own a piece. So now as a result, I need you to help me with this, I need you to help me with this, not you with your merit. And a person can actually use the merit of the tzaddik in time of need or in time of prayer for his own benefit. And that's, Rabotai, how we understand the concept of even zchut avot, the concept of merit of our ancestors. Why? Because whenever we are in time of need or in time of prayer, and we awaken the merit of these tzaddikim, or awaken the merit of our ancestors, what does the angel of this gate do? He says, okay, I finally have merit I can use now to help this man. Because what did we say in the beginning about that angel Ariel? He loves men. And he searches where he can find any drop of merit to bring upon a person blessing. So here we're essentially we're unlocking merit that even doesn't belong to you, belongs to tzaddikim, it belongs to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. But just by awakening it and becoming partners with it, now you can take a little loan, you can help, you can take a little bit here, you can use a little bit there in order to bring upon yourself big baracha. So now, Botai, merit is not a hard thing. It's not a complicated thing. It's actually a very simple thing. And we prove it to be even, in many times, not change in action as much as you thought of. Could be even just most a change of thought. But I can assure you one thing, that even if a person takes upon himself, even a change of thought, and not even necessarily a change of action, give it a week or two and he's going to start changing his action naturally. Because like what we said, once you start to get a taste of making money, a person wants more and wants more and wants more. Once a person starts to get a taste of gaining merit, what do they start to do? It starts to want more, it starts to want more, it starts to want more. And that is how we need to look at our world. One more thing, and here I finish. That it was a very short class. No, it's not a short class. I already know it. One more thing I'm going to finish. What the Ramak says on this gate, which speaks about mazal. What's mazal? What's the mazal? It's like the luck. Luck. The mazal. The luck of a person. Now, there are three things that are actually attached to a person's mazal and not necessarily action. Somewhat. What are these three things? Number one, okay, zivug, nachon. Number two, life and death. Number three, Parasha. And that's why these are the three hardest things to change. Because these are the three hardest things which are attached to one's mazal. Not necessarily something that you can just flip. Now, why is the mazal so hard to change? Because they are at a very high place. They are above the 7 gates. They are above many layers, many levels that we know about in Shamayim. Where there's a river somewhat, like Abatai again, when the Zohar uses words like this, it's more to try to give us a grasp. There's a river where all our neshamot absorb from there our mazal, but it's very, very high. It's right under the chair of Hashem, meaning it's by the feet of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in order to get our prayers to reach all the way up there, we need to have very clean and good prayers. And that's like we said, Parasha, Zivug, and life, those are the three hardest things to change. Ramak says, when one performs with merit, merit is one of the things, in some instances, where he can use in order to change his mazal. Why? Because merit fills that river, fills that ma'ayan of mazal. And the moment that that ma'ayan, that river starts to be full, what happens? It starts to overflow and spill. But the moment it starts to overflow and spill, the ones who caused it to fail will joy and will be rewarded with all that access of blessing and access of water that came out. So a person could even change his mazal with arousing merit to change. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem spill on everybody a week, a year, a lifetime full of beracha and tzlacha and b'siyata dishmaya gdola. And maybe that Hashem, the merit that we will collect and the merit that we will receive will be in abundance and it will be in numbers we will not even be able to comprehend. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem will hear all our prayers and B'ezrat Hashem fulfill all our heart's wishes. Amen.
And also one question, how do you do teshuvah? How can you do teshuvah?
You know more than anybody here. You are tzaddik here. Be'emunah, you are the biggest tzaddik that I know right now. Now that I'm looking at you. Teshuvah is the simplest thing. Teshuvah is having the will, having the desire. Once you have the desire and you have the will, you're doing teshuvah. The problem starts when we don't have the will, we don't have the desire. Because when we don't have the desire, don't have the will, you can pass 100 years of your life without even thinking about the word. But once the will and the desire comes into play, it already becomes the natural work of teshuvah. So teshuvah, a man can do it in 1 second. Will and desire. Once you have the will and you have the desire, that's it. You already did teshuvah. Finished. Even if you didn't catch up your deeds with your desire, that's fine. But the desire is there. So 1 second. So we're all going to teshuvah right now. We're all tzaddikim, Baruch Hashem.